The history of coffee is more than just a blend of facts. It follows the pursuit of mankind through its hardships and the fundamental building of our society through economics, politics, and culture, and has had a major influence on modern-day coffee enthusiasts and pastime entrepreneurs. But not many people know the story of coffee. It didn't just appear from the grounds. Its origins are widely known from an Ethiopian folktale. Legend has it that a goat herder from Ethiopia named Kaldi was herding his goats across the Grand Plains. Unknowingly, his goats ate some mysterious red berries, and after the goats became energized, noticing the effect it had on his goat, he took the mysterious berries and showed them to a monk who thought they were the works of the devil and threw them into the fire. As the beans were toasted, it created a roasted aroma that filled the monastery, hence the discovery of coffee, and eventually, the world. Ethiopia is the supposed birthplace of coffee. It migrated to the Arabian Peninsula. Coffee was extremely popular in this area and even spawned coffee houses called kavekhane, and quickly became an important center of exchange of information. From the peninsula, the Dutch took a few trees and planted them in Java. From there, a coffee plant was given to the King of France as a gift that was known as the noble tree, which is the genetic parent of all the coffee plants in the world, and then began the spread across Europe. But its acceptance was not a smooth road. Some Europeans reacted in fear, calling it the bitter invention of Satan. Even the local clergy condemned coffee from its arrival in Venice. This issue became so controversial that the Pope was called to intervene, but he liked it so much that he gave it his own personal approval. By the middle of the century, coffee was brought to the Americas, first to Martinique, an island owned by the French in the Caribbean Sea in Latin America, and then transported to what is known as present-day New York. Although tea was the favorite drink of that time, the historical event of the Boston Tea Party changed that preference for the colonists and helped improve the popularity of coffee in colonies by making coffee seem as a patriotic obligation.
Coffee, although not always successful, began to cultivate around the world. The spread of coffee from America can be explained as exponential as colonists continued to carry seedlings and spread coffee worldwide. With the expansion of coffee came coffee-based economies on the plantations that arose. There was a lot of problems with the backstage of the coffee industry. The cultivators of coffee plantations were not being paid for their grind, and farmers made a meager amount of money that wasn't enough to support their families. Their struggles showed their continuous labor was what upkept the dispersion of coffee. It's through their effort that contributes to the modern workforce. They paved the road for the workers who held up the economy today. Today, the average American working man drinks about 3 cups of coffee a day. There's about 151 million men in America. That is about 453 million cups of coffee a day. What about the rest of the world? Which leads us to say that coffee is a goldmine for countries that export it. Countries such as Brazil, Ethiopia, India, Vietnam, and Indonesia value the coffee industry to a high extent. It is an important industry in many of the world economy today. Bringing these countries' main exports to other countries leads to coffee being transported all across the world. Encounters with coffee are happening when we ingest it. Researchers debate over the health-related information regarding coffee. Some say it is depleting your health by having effects such as increased rate of heart disease or increased risk for insomnia, while others say it is beneficial for aiding your body in ways such as reducing the risk for type 2 diabetes or Parkinson's disease. Throughout all these arguments though, what is known is that coffee gives you energy in the form of caffeine. For many, coffee drinking is a way of directly delivering caffeine to your body. The stimulant that is present in coffee is also an addictive drug. The effect of that is caffeine addiction, which lurks in many lives today. Most of the caffeine addiction in America can be attributed to coffee. The encounter with coffee has had an energizing effect on America, but has not only given energy, but has also made a way for social interactions. Coffee wasn't the only thing important to us. We gained social aspects as well. Coffee houses are a common place to fraternize. About 60 million people around the world visit Starbucks per week. Think about the last time you've needed an area to meet up with someone. Coffee houses are a common place to meet due to their atmosphere and availability. They are go-to places for business or plain socialization. Although used in the general public, people of higher status also utilize these places. History was made in the coffee house by men who were involved in the foundation of America. These revolutionaries would meet and exchange ideas at a coffee tavern called Green Dragon. Men such as Sam Adams and Paul Revere would meet here to discuss their dislike of tea due to the controversy circulating around the Boston Tea Party. Even today, formal business is usually conveyed over coffee. With coffee also came cultural exchange. Caffeinated artists produced works cognizant of their abilities. It was a way for them to express themselves. Artist Maria Artizdu showcases art created by her coffee spills. Even accidentally, coffee has made a place for itself in today's artsy culture. Coffee blending and brewing are even considered on their own to be an art form. There are several different varieties of coffee bean blends, each with its own unique flavor and aroma. Also, different roasting levels affect the potency of the taste of the coffee. The creation of the drink, though, is all up to the brewer. The blend of beans and the conception of drinks are an expression of an idea made from the brewer's mind. All these principles make brewing a craft in its own way. Because these things require a lot of skill and imagination, it becomes artistic. For example, cappuccino art is a popular art form in today's coffee shops. It is the art of layering cream in a cup to create a visually aesthetic drink for patrons. Even back in its homeland, ceremonies are held as homage to their Java Jehovah. The coffee ceremony is a traditional act of hospitality and is conducted by a young woman wearing traditional garb. She lays the needed tools down on grass, and then proceeds to roast and grind the coffee, then poured into fine glass cups for the guests and then served. The ceremony is a time for socialization and discussion, and has become a staple tradition in many Ethiopian homes. Coffee brought societal effects all around and back to its roots as a social endeavor. The route of exploration taken by coffee was a long journey throughout the world, filled with encounters politically and ethically that exchanged the many blends of cultures and economic adventures.